Hey there, welcome back. Friends, let us quickly try to understand the configuration file. The first setting is connection.driver class. Now, as the name suggests, we need to specify the fully qualified name of the driver class, and the driver would be definitely from our connector jar. Now, if we check the referenced libraries, then unfortunately it is not showing up the jar files real quick, right? Now, in order to bring the referenced library directly in here, we need to configure the build path. Now, configuration of the build path is optional. Many a time you would be able to see the list of all the jar files which is there inside the web content webinf folder directly on this particular panel, but somehow it is not like showing properly on our panel. So let us do one small little thing. Let us explicitly add the jars from our web content webinf lib folder. All the jars will be added in the build path, and we would be able to see these under our referenced library. Now here we go. Now the first thing is what it is: driver class, which is from com.mysql.jdbc.driver, right? So it is inside this jar file, and let me show you. Here is the driver, which is com.mysql.jdbc, right? So here is the class. Here is the class which we will use in order to connect with the database. Now there is also a latest version of this JDBC driver, which is inside this com.mysql.cj.jdbc. Even this driver inside this particular package can be used to connect with the database. All right, now moving forward, the dialect. Dialect is very important. Dialect is nothing but this particular jar will let the Hibernate ORM know that how to create the query in the background. So this dialect is very important, and we need to specify this dialect based on the database which we are using. In our case, we are making use of MySQL. As a result, we are making use of MySQL dialect. Now again, let me show you where we have this jar. This jar is available inside Hibernate core jar. Let me show you. And if I show you the dialect package, here is the dialect package. And if I list down the classes available in here, one of the class would be MySQL dialect. Let me show you. Here we go. So here is the class which we will use, MySQL dialect. All right, let me expand this. Then we have the URL. Now this URL will definitely change based on your requirement, and as we are making use of a local system, we will make use of the localhost :3306 / the name of the schema. Let me open up Workbench real quick. Let me wait a couple of seconds to open up Workbench. Now friends, this particular URL will definitely change based on the deployment. For example, you deploy your web application on a web server, then this URL would be provided by the web server, by the web space provider, right? So take a note of it. Now let me open up this particular Workbench, and in here, if we see, the connection is root and URL is 127.0.0.1, which is nothing but a alias for localhost, and the port is 3306. All right, so we are making use of the database which is locally available to us, and we will make use of this schema whose name is steadyeasy_db. So let us quickly do that. So in here we will change this setting to steadyeasy_db. All right, now friends, the username and password is something which you need to handle accordingly based on the users available to you. In order to make things very simple, the username and password for our database is root. Then show SQL setting will show the SQL which is fired to the database on the console. So we will make it as true in order to debug things accordingly. And finally, the current session context class will help us to specify that how the context will work, and in here we will be making use of a multi-threaded model. All right, and finally the most important thing is that we are making use of session factory methodology in order to connect with the database. All right, So this was a quick overview that how we will connect with the database using the configuration file. In our next video, finally, we will create a class which will take this particular configuration and help us to connect with the database. Alright, so something interesting is coming up, and I guess you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.